Thanks, guys, for listening to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to the podcast. If you don't mind, head over to Facebook and give us a like, and head over to Instagram and give us a follow. It's both at the Coonhound Collective. Also, if you would like to reach us here at the Coonhound Collective, you can reach us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. If there's someone that you would like to hear on the podcast or a product that you would like to hear talked about, please send it to thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.
How's it going, guys?
Good. Just fine.
Well, y'all had a big win at the Winter Classic here a weekend or so ago, and I wanted to get you on here, and y'all kind of hunting my flavor of dog, so I always like to get people on here that's hunting my flavor of dog, and looks like y'all got a couple pretty nice looking dogs, and kind of talk to y'all and get a little history and kind of y'all's connection together and a little bit about your dog. So whoever wants to talk first or whatever, just jump in there and just kind of tell us who you are and kind of where you're from and a little bit about these dogs y'all have.
Sure. My name's Kyle Stoops, and of course, Jared Layman is the other half of this conversation. Most people know Jared for 2018 through 19 or 20. He made a run with a dog called Hardtime Cooper, and he won PKC, UKC, CHKC, wherever he put Cooper in. They did quite a bit of winning. And I had seen Jared around a lot. I'm originally from the Illinois area, and Jared was from the Flat Rock area at that time, and he had made a pretty big run with Cooper. Had a little help whenever he's working, but long story short, it was a Seth-ish bred dog, a Red Ruby Hardtime dog, and those dogs have come from a long line of winners. And Jared had gotten married and was settling down a little bit and had sold Cooper to Seth, and I seen that and kind of piqued my interest, and Seth had sold him to, I believe, to a guy down in Texas, and I had kind of run him down, and I had run numbers. So like a lot of guys that's been doing this for a long time, you kind of have your own formula of what you think will produce or reproduce. And I had run the numbers on Cooper, and Cooper come out to me to be a reproducer by a formula that I had been given or had been shown a little bit how to do several years ago, and had brought back to my memory. And I got a chance to buy Cooper. I called that old boy in Texas, and I said, what can we do? And we talked about it, and I called Jared. I said, Jared, how would you like to have a Cooper reunion? He said, well, I'd like that. And I said, well, good, because I just bought him. He'll be picked up in a couple of days, and I gave the hauler your address. And so it was almost about like that. And from there, we started trying to put some English dogs on the ground that we thought would improve the breed. And through that come a young dog called Lola. And there's a couple things that Lola and Cooper have in common that struck Jared's interest. And I'm going to ask him to take over here for a little bit and talk about Cooper from the beginning into Lola and how he ended up at the Winter Classic.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Go ahead, Jared.
All right, I'm Jared Layman, and I've been coon hunting for about, maybe been 12 years, but I've really just been hunting a lot the last 10 years. Competition hunting has not been that long, 6, 7 years or so. I actually used to be Amish years ago, and my first coon dog I got back when I was still Amish. I'd go coon hunting, horse and buggy, but that was quite the experience. Anyway.
Yeah, hold on. We can't brush over that. We got to have a little bit more of that. So you was coon hunting out of a horse and buggy. Let's talk about that. For a minute.
So I'll give you a little bit of a story of one time what happened. I was coon hunting out of a horse and buggy. I had a high wheeled cart. I made a wooden dog box to sit in the back of it, and I go out coon hunting. Well, it was a cold night. It probably wasn't quite as cold as it was pretty cold. And I had at that time. Well, the creek was 3 feet deep, dog, right? And I get to her, and it didn't matter. The point of the story was on the back, started walking across it, right? And this dog is walking behind me, and she slipped and jerked me off the log down the creek. Yeah, we both went swimming in that cold water. And so I get back to the horse and buggy, right? And I got about a 3-mile ride home in the open cart, freezing temperatures. I was frozen stiff by the time I got home.
Now, okay, you're using a horse and a buggy and a dog box that you built. What kind of light are you using?
Hunting light?
Yeah, just regular cap light, or?
I think I had just regular cap light. It would have been an older one.
Okay.
It may have been just one of them headband, like a headlight kind of deal.
Yeah.
A spotlight for handheld, I'm guessing, probably what it was.
Well, that was probably a little bit on the cool side buggy ride back to the house.
Oh, it was freezing. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I didn't mean to derail your story there.
I didn't know this till recently. My dad shoes horses, and I'd always go with him shoeing horses, and he'd shoe horses for several people that coon hunted. Well, those are my favorites, right? 'Cause I go out back and look at the coonhounds. And one of his customers told me recently that he tried to give me a coon hunting light way back then, and my dad wouldn't let him. I'm not sure why not, but I guess that was he didn't want me to get invested in this coon hunting thing. Yeah. Even to this day, whenever I go coon hunting, he's like, "How many did you shoot?" I'm like, "None." And he goes, "Well, what's the point of even going if you don't kill any?" Yeah, he doesn't really understand the whole coon hunting thing. So with that, obviously, I'm the first generation coon hunter in my family. So I don't have, uncles and that kind of stuff that used to hunt, grandpas and that kind of stuff. I just took a liking to it, and I've always liked dogs.
Yeah, your phone was starting to break up there right at the end, but so you're the first, you're a first generation coon hunter, and
yeah.
So I guess are you not in the Amish community anymore, or how did that work?
Not no more.
Okay.
I left when I was 20.
Okay.
And that's kind of when I met Randall Powell about that time. You may be familiar with him. He owns Cracker Jack. From Texas. Yeah. And I went to Randall's in Texas whenever I left home. And then I hunted that line of dogs for a while. I like those Cracker Jack dogs and stuff. And so yeah, stepping forward to getting Cooper. I bought Cooper as a puppy off of Seth-ish. Cooper was a litter of, so his mama is Lucy, Moss Hardtime Lucy. And Lucy, I was like number 5 on the list of getting pups from this litter, And she only weaned 3 puppies, so Seth sent me my deposit back. Well, it come time to, like 7 weeks old, when these pups were ready to go home, Seth called me and says, "Hey, there's a few guys backed out. If you want a blue male, I got a pup for you." I was like, "Well, I guess I'm supposed to have one." So I drove up there and got him that next morning. And that's how we ended up with Cooper. Now, Lola is the pup I'm hunting now, the one I just won the Winter Classic with. She was somewhat the same way. Louis Canoy bred that litter. He owned Oakwoods Pepper, and he had the pups all sold. Well, somebody backed out. He put on Facebook, and somebody else was going to buy her. Well, the second guy backed out on the pup, and I told Louis, just, you know what, just take that pup off Facebook. I'll come pick her up, because I figured, I'll make something out of it instead of having just pups out there people can't sell or whatever. It's kind of worked out in a good way. I've been lucky with them leftover pups.
Yeah. So, Lola, I've seen you done some PKC winning. You done some winning at English Days with her, right?
Yes. Yeah, so English Days would have been probably her first big event. Yeah, it was, because I had our night champion, but that was just local hunts. And English Days was her first major. We hunted Wednesday night, and the RQE was high scoring dog, had 575 plus, and I was pretty tickled with that. I was just wanting to get a cast win. Here, the little dog, I think she treed 3 coons. I don't even remember how that hunt even went, but she had 575, and then Friday night. Okay, so she wasn't qualified for the invitational on Thursday, so I just didn't hunt on Thursday. Friday night, I scored 8 1/4 with her. She really looked good that night. When I'm in a cast and I'm winning the cast, I normally don't. I try to play it safe. I'm not the kind of guy that just goes out there. If my dog trees, he's got to slam a tree. I actually took 2 second trees on that Friday night cast that I had first tree by. I mean, a minute or so. I just let her sit in the tree and somebody else coming back to her. But then towards the end of that cast on Friday night, again, I was just wanting to cast win. I had, 6 something. Yeah, I had 600. And I get struck first again. So now all I need is just to get, if I get treed, I'll just tree for a quarter or whatever. Just get a few more points, right? Yeah, there's the other dog goes in there to her and trees. Well, he took first tree, which I basically made him. I told him that I wasn't going to tree unless he does. So he trees the nice tree in, and we get in there, and these 2 dogs are split. And his dog comes walking into us, like his dog was left-handed. His dog comes walking into us, so he took a minus both ways there, and Lola was sitting in here in front of us and had a coon. That's what gave her 2 1/4 on that one, because she was split there.
Yeah, and you got her in close to the final rounds of the AKC World Top 16 or something like that also?
Yeah. I got her in top 16 to AKC World. I don't even remember how that cast went the first round. I did end up, I think she treated 2 coon maybe. And then the first cast of I'm trying to draw a blank on that one. I know the cast that I was in, that was, if I would have won, would have put me in the final 4. She treated coon and recut her. She was treated again pretty quick, and I was walking towards her to handle her. They told me I could go handle her. Well, she was in the ground, and she would be treeing, and then she'd shut up. But she was still treeing. You just couldn't hear her. And I ended up just running the 2 on her for myself, and the 2 caught her, which at that point I took my minus. I just went in and handled her, and I was done. I couldn't win because I took that minus. But yeah,
Well,
that was what knocked us out of the top 16 there.
I'm going to say
final
that
cast, I guess.
that's pretty honorable. Most folks would have just went in there and handled their dog and not said a word.
Yeah, well, there's been a few times that, man, I was with Cooper at the truck hunt one year, and I was sitting in there by myself under it was like a mile deep in there, treed by himself, and they told me to go handle him. I'll go in there. I'm sitting at this tree for almost an hour waiting on the cast, and here he's got a den, and one tree over has got a coon in it. If I had a coon, I was going to win. And it's just like I feel more comfortable taking my loss and doing it that way instead of cheating to win. You can't sleep like that.
Well, you can definitely go home, lay your head on the pillow, and wake up next morning and feel good about it, no matter what, if you do it that way.
Yeah.
And I want to talk more about Lola, because I know you've won quite a bit of PKC money with her in a short period of time. But let's go back to Cooper for just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He's a blue, kind of ticky looking blue dog.
Yeah, he would be I say he's got like a white undertone, like he's got a lot of white
Right.
in his blue tick.
Yeah.
He's a medium build dog. I'm guessing weighs 65 pounds or so, Kyle.
65 pounds. You run him down a little bit, and he's going to be 63.
Mm-hmm.
And you said he's at a Buck and Lucy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Red Ruby
Hardtime
Hardtime Buck and Moses Hardtime or Moss's Hardtime Lucy.
Yeah, and Lucy's got Charlie 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lucy is at a Hoss
There you go.
and Triple D Snow White, and Hoss is out of Charlie 7 and Pearl, and then Snow White's out of the Prowler and the All Grand Cape Dog.
Okay. Yeah, my creeper dog is got Charlie 7 several times and Pearl 7 times in his third generation pedigree.
Yep. Cooper has Charlie 7 twice in 3 generations.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely bred the way I like one to be bred. Let's talk about him for a minute as far as some stuff that he's won, Jared. I know you said you was in the truck hunt with him. What other things? I know you play somewhere in the UKC world with him, maybe? Is that right?
Yeah, so I'm going to step back a little bit. The first year that I was hunting Cooper as, well, he was probably 14 months old when I realized I had something. So his birthday is November the 3rd, and our season opens November the 8th. Whenever the first night of our kill season, I treed 4 singles with him, and I was over the moon. You know, this was him by himself, and I was like, wow, this dog maybe something good. You know, well, about January, he was still, consistently treeing coons, and that's when I met a buddy of mine, Dale Huff. He's from Michigan. A lot of people probably know him in the PKC world. He got a hold of me wanting to come down here and pleasure hunt the weekend before Super Stakes, and we did, and we kind of hit it off really good, you know. Anyway, Dale Huff was, I'm gonna say for that next year, he was my mentor. I mean, any question I had about a dog, how to do this or that, why this dog is doing that, I just called Dale, and I'd text him all the time, any hour of the night, you know, or if I'd be in a cast and I get frustrated that I got beat by this or that. I mean, me and Cooper are both novices at this point, because I've won some hunts, but nothing big, and we're just going to these PKC hunts and whatever all, and just basically getting our feet wet together. And Dale would, really coach me through a lot of these things and show me why this handler did that and whatever all. I'd explain all these casts to him, and I think that was a big help to me to have somebody like that in my corner, where he just basically coached me through all that stuff. And I still to this day, I really appreciate that, and then we that first year, as Cooper is a 1-year-old, I got double cast wins with him at like Black and Tan Days, PKC Black and Tan Days. There was a few other breed hunts, I think, Redbone Days maybe, stuff like that. But I didn't really. He told me to wait to run him in PKC hunts and stuff to the 2-year-old, just to make so he's ready, so he's not gonna get bad habits and that kind of stuff. So March, after he turned 2, I won a truck ticket with him in March. We won like $800 and some dollars, and $35 hunts in March. And then my buddy Eric Emery from up by North Judson, Indiana, he got a hold of me. He was wanting, like, hey, send Cooper up here. We got Black and Tan Days and this and that. I'll hunt him for you and whatever all. Well, we worked out a deal, and he was actually top 3 dogs for March, April, and May. But since you win a truck ticket the first month, you don't get one the next month. And he had a really good, spring there, and he run a stick in his eye it was soon after I got him back from Eric. He run a stick in his eye, and that slowed him down pretty bad. Because we was fighting that with the infection in it and stuff, and I still kept hunting him. Just because at that point I was leading the state race, breed race, all that good stuff, and I didn't want to, miss out on maybe winning the state race. So we ended up, after the PKC year was over, we ended up winning the breed race by a long shot. We got beat in the Indiana State race by like $150 in the last week. We was at Super Stakes, and this other bitch was around here local doing $35 PKC hunts, and she beat us by like $150. And we was also third, so we was first breed race, second state race, and third in the national male race in 2019.
Okay. Yeah, so he's been around for sure and done quite a bit of winning, and it seems like he's excuse me, he's adjusted well, even moving, like Kyle was talking about. Seth had him, and then he ended up in Texas, and now he's back up there with y'all. So it seems like he's adjusted well wherever he's went.
Yeah. Yeah, and I believe it would have been in 2020 is when I got him in the top 100 of the UKC world. I'm sure, I don't have a list of hunts that I wrote down. I used to have a list, and he's won a bunch of stuff. Legacy hunts, back then you actually hunted them off. Nowadays they have their $105 PKC hunts, and you just split. Well, back then they had just come out, and you had 64 dogs enter. Entries are going like that, and you win the first round, you hunt the late round, and we won multiple. We made multiple Final Fours in legacy hunts, and I was hunting against good dogs too. Like big money winners and that kind of stuff. That was when I really, I was pretty impressed with him because he could hang with the big dogs basically.
Yeah. So he's got, more than just Lola. What pups do y'all see a cross that's working better on him as far as what stuff's out of? And is there several pups that are doing really well out of him that you know of right off the top of your head?
Yeah, one of the crosses. Before I get into it, I have a quick list of some of his wins if you want me to rattle them off.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Go ahead.
Sure.
2023, 20, I believe 20, maybe 22, 23, 24. He was the Maine state champion. He also made PKC gold champion. He was a PKC national breed race winner. Second place Indiana state race, third national male, fourth invitational pup race, PKC Indiana reserve state champion. He was a national ticket winner, back-to-back truck ticket winners, Final Four in PKC English days, Final Four in the PKC Redbone days, Final Four in the PKC Black and Tan days. He was the Mount Vernon Legacy hunt winner, Logansport Legacy winner. He also was in the Bill Stokes Legacy winner. He's had cast wins at Super Stakes, the PKC World. He's been in the UKC Top 100 World once or maybe twice. Had multiple double cast wins at English Days, cast wins at Autumn Oaks. Has won RQEs with 800 plus points. Multiple TOC qualifiers, 2022 PKC Top 100 and 2022 TOC cast winners.
Yeah, so he's won pretty much anywhere you've put him.
Yeah. Well, one of the big things that I was surprised at is I live in Maine. Currently, I've lived up here for the last 20 years, which is the reason why I shipped Cooper to Jared instead of bringing him up here. There are very few dogs that make the transition up to Maine. They don't have a lot of coon. We don't have a lot of coon. And Cooper had one incident. We ran into one disagreement with a porcupine, which we have 20 times more porcupine than we do coon. And that's all it took. And to give you an idea, you can take Cooper and drop him in Indiana or Ohio, and he can tree 5 or 6 singles in an hour. And you can bring him up here and drop him in Maine, and he may be out in a dense piece of timber for an hour and 20 minutes without a bark. And then he'll strike a track, run it. You'll know where he's at when he's running it, locate it, and tree it.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit of what Cooper is.
What kind of, before you tell us about the pups out of him, what kind of mouth does he have? What kind of strike dog is he? Is he pretty honest strike dog? When he opens, you can pretty much strike him type dog, or how does he operate?
When he opens, you better strike him, because he is an honest strike dog. And to be honest with you, in the world of competition, I'm sure there's a lot of times Jared probably wished he was a little more loose with the chin. But I'll let Jared jump in there and tell you a little bit about his striking ability.
Okay.
So Cooper's gonna, like Kyle said, he's gonna be a honest strike dog. There's been, a handful of times I've been in a cast where I get 100 strike, but if it was, you dumped him on top of coon. It wasn't. He's never been a babbler. He never was. He's usually. I've always said that Cooper is the most accurate whenever he goes out there and he's hunting. It don't matter if he's 150 yards or 700. If he hits that track, runs it, and he opens about perfect on a track. He's not mouthy, but you can tell he's moving it, and big ball mouth. And he's the most accurate when he runs a good track, and he'll give you 3 big old dying locates and roll that over into a good steady chop. He's not no 120 bark a minute dog. He's probably, 60, 80, 100 bark a minute.
74.
74.
74, pretty consistent.
I was close. I said 60 to 80, right?
Yep.
And just a consistent, good tree dog, and that's about what what it's like for hunting him.
Yeah. Well, the timings that we are in now, everybody says you got to have that 100 strike dog, and it helps. I'm not sitting here trying to deny it. It does help, but it really helps whenever they load up on the other end. If they got a raccoon in the tree, it don't really matter what strike it is, as long as they've got the meat at the end.
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
That's where Cooper won a lot. He'd tree 2-3 coons in a cast, and I'd be struck for a quarter all night, but it really didn't matter because I knew he was going to have coon. And everybody else around here that I was drawing these hunts to, they knew Cooper was going to have coons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that definitely makes a difference for sure.
Yeah. One of the things Jared told me when I brought Cooper up here was trusting, just trusting, and it sounds easy. It's easy to say, but it's a little bit harder to do. We were in the zones in Pennsylvania, drove 12 hours, dumped them loose. A dog that went in and I struck Cooper in for 75. A dog got treed. We're walking on this path in, and we walk in there's probably 6 or 7 of us. We're walking through this deer path, and right next to the deer path, Cooper comes up to the tree and sniffs it and just dies and locates, and just locates. And in my heart, I knew he was doing it right, but you have 6 guys walking past the tree. Some people actually touching the tree as they walk past it. And I'm not going to treat that dog on my life. But another guy I did not look in the tree at all. We walked 40 yards in, and looked at the circle slick, and he had been there the whole shine time. And no one said anything. Judge didn't say anything. Of course, I'm sure they was waiting for the shine time off to put the stationary on me. And a dog came in, a walker dog, a lone pine dog, come in and made one bark, and he treated. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You messed up." And she beat me by 25 points. We each treed 5 coon that night, and she beat me by 25 points when it was over. So, out of the words of Jared Layman, when Cooper trees, trust him.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about pups and that's out of him, and what crosses that y'all see are doing the best.
Well, the Lola cross that Jared's hunting now, we have a litter mate to her that is a male, big old tri-colored male, got a mouth from now till next week. He is super flashy, big, very athletic. Man, he's probably 100+ bark a minute tree dog, and you can hear him for 2 miles. He's a litter mate to Lola, and we've started breeding him a little bit, but we're waiting to see what the pups are going to do before we start promoting him, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we like what Lola's done. So that vapor with a little bit of mix of Briar Creek on the bottom side with Cooper, we found a simulance on that on a couple of breedings, and we like that. We like that a lot. It's really producing some good solid dogs. We are finding that when we look at females, a little bit of Briar Creek mixed in with this is not hurting anything at all. Now we also I did the same thing on another female that I liked that was out of Tough Blue Diesel, which goes back to Tank. And then on the bottom side, she goes back to Reagan's Hatchie River Style. And that's a female that we also own. And I think she is currently number 5 on the reproducers list. And that's with 2 of her pups not yet having shown. So unless some of those other dogs also increase, she should be number 1 reproducer on the English female list here pretty quick. And I think Cooper's got 4, if I'm not mistaken, dogs that are titled that aren't yet on his list. So, we like that. We like that vapor stuff on the bottom, or that similar type of breeding. I find that a leg of Briar Creek on the bottom of that just doesn't hurt anything. Them dogs are really turning the crank.
Yeah. Well, whenever I feel like mine's ready, I may give y'all a talk, because mine's bred just about identical to what you're describing. Vapor and Briar Creek on the bottom. But
oh wow,
Jared, I want to talk again about Lola. That's what we want to talk about was Winter Classic. But first off, I guess she's following in her dad's footsteps. She's, I think, sitting number 8 on the English breed race right now for this year in PKC. I know you've won some PKC money with her. So let's talk about Lola, her mouth, kind of what she sounds like, and a little bit about some of the winning she's done, and kind of getting ready up to the Winter Classic.
Mm-hmm. So I'm typically a big mouth guy. I like a good mouth on a dog. I say it costs the same amount to feed one that's good to listen to as one that you hate listening to, But Lola does not have my typical good mouth that I like to listen to. She is a little more high pitched, but man, you can hear her for a long ways. And so something about it, she packs a lot of volume with with that high pitch. She is super fast. I mean, from 6, 7 month old puppy, whenever I'd unsnap her, she would be, I mean, gone. You know, she would go run down the creeks, or she wasn't always getting treed, you know, she was just a pup, but she'd always be hunting. And that's something I liked about her, is her desire to go hunting and, you know, wanting to please thing. So yeah, her mouth is a little more high pitched. But the other thing is about her mouth is almost every cast that I'm in, there's a lot of people comment about it and say, man, they really like that mouth. You can hear it, you know. But yeah, so as far as her hunt style, she is very independent. She's always been that way. She'd much rather be a half mile from anything than she would be with 3 other dogs on her tree. But let me see. Okay, so she's pretty quick. I have also she's okay. So she's more of an ambush style dog. She likes running edges, or she'll hit big timber, and I about have her that I can send her whichever way that I want to. I can send her down a field edge. I can put her in the woods, and she'll hunt that exact woods I'm putting her in instead of running the edge, that kind of thing. And she also wins a lot of coon. I've seen her when I'm hunting her, travel down this field edge, and she'll be flying, 1,000 mile an hour, and she'll stop and run back 40, 50 feet, put her head in the air, and run in the woods 100 yards and strike a track and run it and tree a coon. And I've also she's more typically, she'll be just slamming trees, like an ambush style. She won't even track bark. And I've had her do that, and I'd shut out dogs on casts. Like on Friday night, the first night down in Mississippi, we cut in this piece of timber, and we go in there. Well, Lola blows up tree, and I'm like, well, striking tree Lola, and nobody else is even struck. And they all come in there on her tree, and she had a coon. She does that quite a bit. She's real quick to get treed, and that's something that I like about a quality that I like about her over Cooper. Cooper was more the kind that he's going to make sure. You know what I mean? He would locate, and then he'd locate and settle in. Lola, she'll give you 2 locates, and when she gives you that second one, it's obvious. You can just tree her right there, and she's gonna stay, and she's real quick about it. She is also, she's more of a hard hunting dog. It's nothing to be, if coons aren't moving, she's gonna be a half mile in no time, or she is not gonna mess around with, grubbing up an old track, this kind of stuff. She is definitely a competition style dog. But I've also had her in a patch of coons. Well, like Monday night we were pleasure hunting down in Mississippi, and we was in this section. We cut her in there, and she treed 5 singles in an hour and 15 minutes. So she can really, slam the coon if she's in them. But if you're gonna be cutting her loose, you can't be afraid to walk either, because she definitely got some wheels on her.
Yeah, sounds like it for sure. Sounds like she can treat just about any style coon that needs to be treated. If they're not moving, I guess you just get on in there and get them treated.
Yeah, she is. There's a lot of guys that claim they have these layup dogs when they actually have dead silent dogs. Lola does treat some layups, but I've seen her treat a handful, but I wouldn't say she's a layup artist or anything, but she she can treat about any kind of coon. So leading up to the Winter Classic, I never really had a good kill season on her until this season, and she treated me, I think, 74 coon from November to end. So in 2 months, she treated me 74 coons. There in November, December, and that was probably that was the first good kill season I've had on her, and I think that's really made her into I guess coon dog. She's definitely more mature from that, and I feel like it's made a difference on her. You said something about PKC hunts. So I haven't run a whole lot in PKC hunts with her. I won one pro classic with her here local. It was like, $200 pro classic. And then the first month of the PKC season, which was that November?
October.
I took her to some hunts, and I think I've got like $470 won on it, but that was just that first month. I really haven't hit nothing else. Basically my goal for her is to keep her in top 16 for the state race, so I can hunt the state hunt next year. Indiana state hunt pays out pretty good. I think first place pays a little over $3,000.
All right, so you're gonna try to keep her in the top 16 of the state race there, so you can hunt in it. And so, was you feeling pretty good about going to Mississippi this year with her? I take it then.
Yes, I was. So I said that she treated me 74 coon in November, December, and January 2nd she come in heat, and I was like, all right, great. She'll be coming in heat now. It sucks because of kill season, but I was glad the heat cycle was going to be over for Mississippi. Well, she had a really long heat cycle, and I didn't even hunt her. So we went down to Mississippi on Sunday. We left Sunday, and I hadn't even hunted this dog for almost a month. It was like Wednesday of that week prior to leaving on Sunday that I first started hunting her. So I hunted her, 3 nights there, and then we put her hunted 2 nights in Mississippi. But the little dog was cranking, and she really hadn't skipped a beat from where we left off from kill season.
So what on Friday night, do you remember what your score was for Friday night?
450.
450. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I guess you got to be feeling pretty decent. I mean, it's not the greatest score down there, but it ain't the worst one either. So you got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed, honestly. I had 450, but I was wanting more like a 650. I was a little bit, a little better score, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We had, like I said, Lola's more of an ambush style dog, so that helps her with having coons. She's really, really accurate. But the spot we hunted, we turned loose at 7 o'clock, which was a little early in my opinion. Well, come to find out, after that first coon on Friday night, she made 3 entries, and that's very abnormal for Lola. Anyways, she ended up being like 0.8 in there at the end of the hunt. Had a coon there as well, so that gave me 450. Yeah, I was tickled for the cast win and everything, but I really need one of them den trees to be a coon.
Yeah.
Because 450 never placed even close, But going in the Saturday night, I told Kyle Saturday morning, I said, I'm just hoping to get me a cast one tonight. I said, because my 450 ain't gonna do nothing. Well, so I figure if I get 2 cast runs, I gotta get me a double cast for the Triple Crown. But yeah, we go back into this spot Friday night, but we didn't leave till 9 o'clock. We figured we would wait a few hours, give them coons some time to get down, and it was real windy Saturday night when we first cut loose. Okay, let's step back a little bit. We had a 4-dog cast. Before we drew out, I realized that me and Luke Elam which is Tal owns both our dogs, drew each other. So we went back in the clubhouse and like, hey, we drew each other. So they like, well, that don't work. So they took Luke off our cast. So now we have a 3-dog cast. And we wasn't hunting but 10, 15 minutes, I believe. And dog 3 withdrew. I'm still not sure why he withdrew. His dog was like 0.7 to a right-handed, and it was windy, but he was upwind. We should have been able to hear him. But he's like, you know what? I'm not going to be stopped around in this wind all night. He said, you can just withdraw me. I'm like, okay, so now it's down to 2 dogs. We hadn't even scored a coon yet. And so yeah, that puts it down to a 2-dog cast, and Lola is pretty deep in there, and the other dog is as well, but we're struck, so we walk that way to see if we can keep up with him, right? Lola's treed, has a coon, recut, the other dog is treed, and we get almost to him, stop, we put the 2 on him, and he had left his tree. So we put the 6 on him, and he got minus on the strike as well. Well, now Lola's treed again back the other way. So I go to her. She has a coon, and recut again. I tried to cut her back in this big section of woods that we had been hunting because she kind of blew through it, I thought. Well, she goes about 60 yards, hooks to left, and blew out again. She goes like 0.9 in there, and the other dog is that way too. So we're just walking towards them. They get in there, and she treed 1 coon in a swamp and treed 2 more on the outside edge of this of that swamp on the other end of it. And she was working on 1 more. She was, like I said, she was struck back in for 50 because that other dog had 75 there, and she was working on another track when the hunt ran out.
Yeah. So
and those 5 coons give us 1,075.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. She had a really good night Saturday night for sure.
Yeah. I was tickled. I was hoping to have more of a night like that Friday night, getting a little more solid score, and then playing it safe Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, she had coon tree on her mind for sure.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I was impressed with how she handled the terrain down there. It was the spot we hunted was all flat, and it was swampy and water and everything, but not a lot of water. 1, 2 inches of water. Some places 3, 4 inches. But like that last spot, it was like a foot deep in there, and they were just sitting around it. Well,
Yeah.
she really handled that water and that swampy stuff, I thought.
Yeah, well, sounds like it. Over 1,000 plus. So, and she treed five coons. So it sounds like she was handling it pretty well. That's for sure.
Yep.
So, what's your plans for Lola now going forward?
Man, I really don't know. Coming off a win like that, you think you're invincible. You can win anything, but I can't really just go to any hunts I want to. I drive semi for work, and I have a wife and a kid at home. I still got to take care of them, But I'm thinking about, I want to take a shot at the World Hunt, of course, this year. Obviously, we'll be at English Days, and I've been tossing around the idea of running the Preener race. I'm not sold on it yet, but we'll see. I don't really have a set goal that we're going to do this or we're going to do that. Basically, just feel it out, see where it goes.
Yeah.
And I obviously want to breed her in the future. I've had a lot of guys after me. I mean, already, a year ago when we won English Days, hey, when are you going to breed her? Well, I kind of had a lot of fun with her. I don't really want to breed her right now, but
Yeah, it's kind of I've mostly have hunted male dogs my life, and I've got this
Yeah, I have too.
female, and it's kind of puts you in a weird position because you're like, well, like me, even though my dog's young, I'm thinking I would probably like to go ahead and breed her and get some pups out of her and just kind of see how she reproduces and what I get out of her. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, but I really want to just hunt her.
Yep. Yeah, I tell you what, there's Lola's just 3. She just turned 3, and I feel like she got a lot of life ahead of her. We can keep her alive, keep her off the roads. I feel like she can make a big impact yet in the competition world.
Yeah.
Of course, we all have a goal of winning the world hunt someday, but we want to be realistic about that too, though.
Yeah.
We are hunting English dogs, you know that.
Yeah, but
Somebody's
I think
got to win it.
that's it. I think we've got just as good a chance of anybody else to win it. We've got to take them to town. That's what I keep telling everybody. I just got to get off my butt and take mine to town. This little female I got, like I said, Brett Stevens took her down there and handled her, and he done an outstanding job with her. Friday and Saturday night. First place open registered on Friday and second place on Saturday, which for one, she never got a chance because I wouldn't have been able to take her this year, but for him to go down there and do that was just awesome. But you sit there and you, like you said, you come off a win like that and you think, man, we're just going to go here and win, go there and win, and it don't always happen that way, but for me, I'm like you. We plan to be at English Days with her this year, as long as she's not in heat or if I don't decide to breed her. And just kind of see where things go from there.
Another thing I was going to mention, I don't know if you know this or not, but man, the English dogs showed up like unreal at Winter Classic this year.
I did notice that.
We had in the champion division, we had 5 in the top 10 Saturday night. That's incredible. I mean, I don't care what bloodline you're hunting. That's just amazing.
Yeah, and honestly, when I seen that, I was a little bit shocked because the black and tan dogs really do good down there in that country.
Yeah.
So for the English dogs to show up like that, I mean, obviously guys got out and took them to town, which is great for the breed. Gets the breed out there, gets a lot of people talking, and asking questions, which is always a good thing for sure. And gets more puppies out there, maybe get some young hunters involved in the breed. Like my good buddy Aaron Gamble says, we don't have to promote the English breed to somebody that's already hunting an English dog. We have to hunt it to somebody that's not hunting an English dog or that's not hunting at all.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, I've kept you guys right at an hour. We're at 54 minutes or so. Did y'all have anything else you wanted to add before we jumped off here or talk about, or anything that we missed that you wanted to talk about?
No, not really. I'll tell you, I would like for you to shoot me the pedigree of your female if you are seriously thinking about breeding her to Cooper.
Yes, sir. I'll be glad to do that, and I am for sure serious about it.
Yeah, Jared and I, we talk about a lot of them. I think we turned down 9 females last year, and there's a couple of them I shouldn't have turned down probably. There was one that we didn't really know too much about, and we got on a hunting trip down Mississippi, and a guy wanted me to come pleasure hunting, and he turned the bitch loose and she treed 2 or 3 singles, and he was all showing me about how I should have bred his bitch when I had the chance. And was saying, I told you. So I say that to say, with the breeding she's at, we are interested in talking about and seeing if we can come up with a treaty on that, because that is so close to Lola. It's not funny.
Yeah. I'll be glad to send it to you. And man, I really appreciate you guys being able to jump on here this evening. talked to Brett and I told him, I said, I'm going to try to get a hold of them boys and see if I can get them on the podcast and let's talk about these dogs. I've never owned a tricolor English dog, but she is a good looking dog, and I really wanted to get y'all on here and talk about it. And I've kind of had my eye quietly on Cooper, and because I like the way he's bred and stuff like that. I just, I'm not really a raising, selling puppy guy. If I do it because I like the dog that I'm hunting, and there's something about the male dog that I like, and I'm doing it for puppies for myself, not necessarily to sell to the public, or more to put them in the right hands or partner with some guys on them or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of our goal with Cooper as well. We're not out there to produce 1,000 pups. We're basically breeding them for ourselves, and if somebody has a good dog to breed, we'll breed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What we're after is, I'm sure there's plenty of PR dogs that have produced decent dogs, but we like to know that these owners put their dogs in hunts, basically.
Yeah. Well, I understand that for sure, and like I said, if I don't want to keep y'all no longer than I need to. I know it's y'all on Eastern time and it's getting a little later over there, but I had some time today because it's like blizzard conditions outside in southwest Missouri today. The wind's blowing and it's just as white as a sheet cake out there. So,
I believe it's coming my way.
Yeah, I think it is. But I figured today'd be a good day if I could get y'all lined up to get y'all on here and talk about it. And I really appreciate it. If y'all don't have anything else to add, we'll shut her down right here. And I appreciate y'all being on here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good evening, and I will talk at y'all later.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to the podcast. If you don't mind, head over to Facebook and give us a like, and head over to Instagram and give us a follow. It's both at the Coonhound Collective. Also, if you would like to reach us here at the Coonhound Collective, you can reach us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. If there's someone that you would like to hear on the podcast or a product that you would like to hear talked about, please send it to thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.